Good morning, folks. And here's just some annoying articles that I've been getting for months. Once there was the rumor of the Mass Effect remake edition, whatever you want to call that thing, and now it's called Legendary. This was like happening at least once a week for months. And now that the remaster has been announced officially by Bioware, you don't have to make these lists anymore. Game journos, there's no need. We know exactly what they're doing. But people are still doing it. And it's driving me nuts. So, Brittany Finley, please, stop doing crap like this. If you have to make another one, or other people on Game Rant or PC Gamer or any of those other websites are making these top 5 or top 10 lists, just stop. You're wasting our time. There's no expectations. It's going to look better. It's going to be compatible with newer hardware. So the PS5, the Xbox Series X, the new video cards, the new software that supports those video cards with DirectX, whatever. That's it. That's all it's doing. It's going to look better. 4K Ultra HD is as fancy as BioWare is getting. So when I see these things pop up on my phone, because whatever Google thinks I like Mass Effect so much, it just keeps recommending me crap, and I'm like, oh, please stop. So here we go. Let's go through this top 5 list of things the Mass Effect Legendary Edition should get right. It has to get right. Okay, so number 1, the Mako Controls. They're not remaking the Mako. They're not changing the controls. They're just allowing for input devices from hardware that was previously unsupported because it didn't exist yet. That's all. So PS4, PS5, whatever joystick support on PC, that's all. Okay? They're not changing how fast it goes, how much health it has, how powerful it is, whether it can climb up a 90-degree incline or as opposed to 89-degree. Nothing like that. It's just the input from newer hardware. They're not changing the gameplay. They're not changing the controls. Full graphics remaster. This is all BioWare is doing. They are updating their actual graphics on the 3 games. That's it. They've said so. They're hard at work updating the shaders, textures, models, effects, and technical features. Now, technical features can be many things, but if they're telling us they're just making it look good to modernize the experience, they're not going to be reinventing how gameplay works. It's just graphics. So obviously they have to get the 4K Ultra resolution working on all devices, tested on a whole bunch of screens, and that's about it. Shaders are probably the hardest thing with lighting effects, whatever new controls the rendering engines or game engines are using nowadays. They're not going to be jumping over to Frostbite. That would be a whole brand new series of games if they went from Unreal to Frostbite. That would be crazy. So they're just using Unreal. They're just using new shaders and new models. That would be a lot of work right there, new models. Can you imagine doing a whole brand new biped from scratch, for whatever engine? No, they're using exactly the same models they had before, changing the poly count, getting new textures, making them look good. And that's it. And we saw the change, the big jump from Mass Effect 1 to 2 to 3 with how much better, not by much, but how much better from 1 to 2 they looked and 2 to 3. Very simple stuff. Nothing complicated. So yes, this is correct. They have to get the graphics looking good because that's exactly what they're doing. Improve combat. No, they're not doing combat. They're not doing gameplay. They're not fixing Mass Effect 1. They're not changing Mass Effect 1. They're not changing Mass Effect 3. They're not doing anything. Stop this. I'm not even going to read that. Multiplayer. They're not changing multiplayer. Multiplayer has been around for God knows 8 years. I don't think there's been much of an update. The team is disbanded that did this. They're not changing the multiplayer. Why would you even mention that? It's an amazing multiplayer experience. It's been perfected for months and months and months. Why are you even mentioning this? Well, ME3's co-op mode had a small group of dedicated fans, and they still do. Many felt it to be lackluster and half-hearted. Really? Compared to what? I mean, you can compare Mass Effect as a whole to other games like Gears of War and see how they do multiplayer and they do gameplay and single player. But, fine. That's a different game. And I wouldn't argue that it does it better or it has better shooting mechanics, this or that. But the multiplayer is actually fun. However you gauge the complexity or the intricacy of Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, it's still a fun game. It's today, like if I had a decent machine, I'd run it and play it and show you. It's fun. But this can be easily improved by taking notes from Andromeda. That's true. I mean, you could always look at better games like Andromeda for gameplay and go, okay, they did multiplayer better. They had boost jets. You can go up and down. That's great. But that's not going to happen. They're not changing melee. They're not changing how you move in the game, the vertical movement, because it's not in the game, and they're not going to add it. So sorry. The bigger issue is the tie-in to the storyline. Again, they're not doing that. Nothing related to story or balance or this or that. Everything's been balanced. Everything's done. The team who made it has gone. Stop talking. Like, this is stupid. It's the same thing as saying gameplay. Mass Effect 3's ending. Okay, I'm not even going to... this is... what are you talking about? Are you seriously think they're going to change the ending? So why even mention it? She even mentions Legendary Edition is not a remake. So why are you bringing this up? Why are you even writing this article? Reworking the ending would boost the overall reception of the series and most likely rid fans of leftover bitter feelings toward the disappointing ending. Okay, but they're not doing that. Bioware may decide to not touch it whatsoever, which is a good decision in and of itself, but whatever it decides, it has got to get it right. What a dumb sentence. Bioware, whatever you're doing, even though it's probably not the ending, you got to get it right. No shit. Water is wet. The sun rises in the east. I mean, what other things should we say? Thank you, useless blogger. Are you even a games journalist? Do you even read? Look at this. Just read this paragraph. That's all they're doing. 4K Ultra HD. It will be available spring on Xbox One, PS4, and PC, and forward compatibility and targeted enhancements for Xbox Series X and PS5. That's it. They're not doing anything else. If someone's trying to sell me on a product that has already come out and they're making it better, well, guess what? For software, that should be a software update. Because why would I spend money on something I already have? It's silly. Now, if you're that hardcore of a fan and you want the best graphics, great. But if you're not selling me on like more content or, I don't know, a VR experience tailored for a certain VR headset or whatever, there's no reason for me to get this. If I even wanted it in the first place. If they said we're changing the story, then it's like, whoa. Okay, that's a different story. That is literally a different story. So that would be different. That would be like, okay, we fixed the DLC for this. We changed the ending for that. We fixed the quest system. That would be a different story. That would get my attention. But this is just graphics. It's just to make it look good. They didn't even talk about sound. They didn't even talk about the horrendous the audio controls and effects of London in Mass Effect 3. That horrible map with the real-time cutscenes where people are shooting guns and nothing's happening. There are explosions and, of course, the wonderful Steve experience. All the other silly things that happen during that level. They're not optimizing it for anything. They're just making the graphics look better in 4K Ultra. That's it. Stop coming out with these articles. Learn to read and let the product speak for itself on launch. Thanks for listening, folks. Have yourself a good day.